Those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Friday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. I am Anthony Harwig. Lovely to join you all as well. Ty Bartell running late a little bit today. He had an eye doctor appointment for his daughter in Boardman. And, you know, the trek from Boardman to Ravenna can be a long one. So he's running a little bit late. Hopefully he'll be here soon. But we still have a good day for you today. Michael Klockner of McDonald Volleyball joining us at 12:30. We have Jennifer Martin of Columbiana Volleyball joining us at 12:45. And then we will also have Alicia Auer, the head coach of Crestview Volleyball, joining us at 1 o'clock. So I just got a text from Ty. He'll be here in about 10 minutes. So got to get through 10 minutes without Ty, and then we'll be fine. The Scrappers were in action last night against State College. They lost 9-2. They're trying to find some traction, the Mahoning Valley Scrappers. And they continue their home stretch tonight. And while we have the time, we're going to give our little ticket giveaway. And I guess what we're going to do, like we do always every Friday, 4 tickets to any of the remaining Scrappers home games. And we have a trivia question that we use to give that away. And the trivia question today is, after this homestand, who is the next Scrappers home opponent? So look at their schedule. Tell me who they are going to be hosting the next time they return to Eastwood Field, and you will win 4 tickets to any remaining home Scrappers game. By the way, that is shortening quick. They have, after this homestand, which ends on Sunday, they only have 9 home games left on their schedule. A huge chunk of their remaining schedule of the summer in August and September is on the road. So take that opportunity to get to a Scrappers game while you can. Once again, they are in action tonight and tomorrow and Sunday over the weekend. And then they are going to be on the road all next week. They return home Tuesday. So all you have to do to win 4 tickets to that home game, this weekend's home games, whatever home game you choose, is when they return home after their week road stint, who are they hosting? That's what we want to know. It's a pretty simple question. All you have to do is go look at their schedule and take a look at what team they'll be hosting next. They're only, 6 teams. So you got a pretty good chance, even if you guess at that point. 4 tickets, any home game that you want to go to are yours if you are the first to get that question right. As we said on the show today, we will have interviews with Mike Klockner, McDonald Volleyball. And when you talk about McDonald Volleyball, we're going to talk in depth with him at 12:30. But when you look at this McDonald Volleyball team, very young last year. They lost a couple of pieces, once to graduation from 2 years ago to last year. So they were trying to put people in new spots. They lost the Howard twins, of course. Those were big hitters for them. But they had a lot of young talent, especially their libero, who, when we were talking about libero of the year last year into season, it came down to like 15 digs when we were looking at stats. So it was Bonilla, which is McDonald's libero, and then Reagan Irons, who was the libero for South Range. It really just it was mano a mano between those two as the best liberos in the area. And, you know, they both bring different attributes. I think Reagan Irons had great accuracy with her passes, was able to get under balls really well, and really able to lead the back row really well. But when you look at Bonilla for for McDonald. She moves so well. She's really good at finding a spot and covering ground. Her range is what makes her really good. She's really athletic, and she's going to be back there patrolling that back row again for Coach Klockner and the Blue Devils. But then you look at, there's Setter and Klockner is coming back for her junior year. She's one of the best setters in the area now that a couple of good ones have left. She goes into Division I camps every summer. She's going to be a Division I setter. I have no doubt about that. She's one of the tallest setters we have in the YSN nation as well. So when you think about McDonald and you look at all these, Olivia Morris and all these young talented players that they have inside that Blue Devils program, I think McDonald's going to make a lot of noise inside that MVAC Scarlet tier. Of course, you got Western Reserve in there that they're going to have to contend with players like Olivia Hughes and Lisa Eichert and Capabianca as well in the middle. So Western Reserve's going to have a lot to say about that in that MVAC Scarlet tier. But in the same instance, I think you got a lot to look forward to if you're a McDonald Blue Devil fan. They had an early exit in the tournament last year. I know they're hungry to get back into the tournament and be 1 year kind of grown, 1 year stronger, and come into that tournament with the fire in their belly to make sure that they can make the run that they want to make. You look at that. You look at some other teams in that conference they'll have to deal with inside the MVAC. Springfield, I think, is in the same boat that they are. They were young last year, made some young mistakes, growing pains, of course, but now they bring back a lot of those young players, upperclassmen. You're going to have Maddie Lesnack back in that lineup. She got hurt towards the end of last season. You're going to have J.C. Mullen back in that hitters rotation. You're going to have a good defense. You're going to have good setters for Springfield. So when you look at Springfield, they're kind of in the same boat as McDonald in that MVAC Scarlet tier. A young team, took a year of experience, and now Coach Jones coming back for another year under the helm of that Springfield volleyball team. And they're going to be someone to contend with inside that MVAC. And when you look at it, we're going to talk to Angela Jones on Monday. We're talking to Coach Klockner today. And hopefully we can get a lot of other coaches out of that conference in the next couple of weeks. But it's a really good Scarlet tier, especially at the top with your Western Reserve, your McDonald, and your Springfield teams. Those are going to be the three that I think people will look at and say, well, they're probably the favorites in the MVAC. They got the big names. But then you look at Jackson Milton, they have a lot of young players that came back from last year. I think a sophomore libero that was pretty good. They have Greco, who is just a great athlete for Jackson Milton. She'll be in the outside hitter category for the Blue Jays. So you got a lot of talent there. It's going to be a good MVAC conference. And I think sometimes the Scarlet tier goes under the radar in a lot of sports because they're the smaller of the schools. And you look at the gray tier and you look at a powerhouse like Crestview and you look at Garfield and what they've been able to do in the last couple of years as a volleyball program, Brookfield, these bigger teams in bigger divisions. But you can't sleep on the Scarlet tier, and especially the McDonald Blue Devils, who we're going to get a chance to talk to today at 12:30 with Mike Klockner. You can't sleep on Columbiana either. Columbiana, we're going to talk to Coach Jennifer Martin, coming back for, once again, another year in the realm of Columbiana volleyball, and they'll be in that EOAC, and they're going to be, I think, the favorites in the EOAC. You look at that volleyball conference, and you look at teams that are around them. I think Columbiana is the class. I think Columbiana is the class of that conference. There are going to be teams that compete with them. East Palestine's always a tough volleyball team. They play really good defense. They have a good defensive mindset. They always have. They've been able to make a couple of upsets in tournaments in years past. So East Palestine's going to have a good program. Lisbon usually has, solid hitters on the outside. I think setting's going to be a question mark for Lisbon. You look at some of the other teams in the EOAC like Latonia and what can they do? They're going to bring back some athletes that maybe volleyball is not their one sport, but you can't cut out athletes and athleticism. So I think the EOAC, there's a lot of teams in there that can maybe throw in their hat. But when you look at Columbiana, they are going to be, in my opinion, the class of that EOAC when we come to volleyball. And then, we're going to talk to Alicia Auer, and she's the helm of probably one of the most talked about volleyball programs in the area, if not the most talked about program. We've talked about them a lot. They were one little step away from knocking off Independence last year in that regional semifinal. and they were up 13-9 in set 5. You're 2 points away from knocking off a team that went to that was going for their third straight state championship appearance. They actually went on and got to their third straight. Unfortunately for Independence, they lost their third straight, and all 3 of those state championship losses came in 5 sets. So heartbreaking for that program. But on the other end, you talk about Crestview and the ability to come so close to pulling off that upset. It would have been, arguably one of the biggest upsets in sports that we've seen that one of our YSN teams pull off because of what a juggernaut Independence had been in the volleyball world for the last 3 or 4 years. So now they come back. They're just that one step away. They're bringing back some freshmen that are really good. A younger Hour. They have Grace Hour still there. They have Abby Imch in her second year as a middle blocker who, in my opinion, the best middle blocker in the area. I think she is going to be one of the people that are throwing their hats in the ring for Defensive Player of the Year this year with her blocking ability. Not going to be Rookie of the Year anymore, that's for sure, because she is 1 year seasoned and no longer a freshman as she comes into her sophomore season at Crestview. That's a lot to look forward to. When you can have a really good middle blocker, excuse me, and a really good setter, tandemly, a high level, both of them elite. You can set up a lot of stuff that teams in that level that Crestview plays in, the MVAC Scarlet Division III, that you don't see a lot of high level, one ball set to the middle. That one ball just means it's right off the net. So really quick sets to the middle that a lot of middle blockers aren't going to be fast enough to react to. And then you got the outside hitters. Yes, you will have to replace Lucy Montgomery, but you still got outside hitters for days for Crestview that are going to come in and hit really hard on the outside. So you have blockers that are going to have to respect the speed that Abby Inch brings to the game on offense, but also you're going to have to spread your blockers out. And when you play Crestview, you're going to have to leave outside hitters one-on-one because you're going to have to respect the middle. So that's something that you don't see a lot in this level. You don't see a lot of really elite middle blockers that you have to commit people to. So because of that, you're going to go one-on-one with some of these outsides, which are just as dangerous in Crestview's offense. And when you go one-on-one on the outside against dangerous hitters, they can really find holes in your defense. They can go down the line, attack the line whenever they want to, and they're going to be fun to talk about and fun to cover when we go into Crestview volleyball season. I think DJ Oakley is going to be sitting in for a little bit, and he just sat down. I'll put him on the split screen here, and I'll turn you up. DJ, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
We're doing good. We're
flying solo today.
Well, Ty is just a little bit late. He said he had his daughter's eye appointment in Boardman.
Gotcha.
And they dilate eyes. And I think you just had an eye appointment. Sometimes those eyes can take like 40 minutes to dilate. And they're like, well, we're still waiting.
Not fun. I'll tell you that. Like I still I know that it's kind of like PTSD from my standpoint, but like when I looked down at my watch when they dilated my eyes, and I was like, oh boy, like I couldn't read it.
I had an eye appointment a couple weeks ago, and they were going to dilate my eyes, and I was like, it's 11 o'clock. I have to work in an hour. If my eyes are dilated, I'm not going to be able to see. So I had to reschedule that.
Oh, so lucky you, because I love Mark Dumbold. Shout out to Mark in East Palestine. But Dr. Dumbold was like, I went in on a Thursday, and he said, I want to dilate you, but I know you're going to Cleveland. So, can we do it on Monday? So I did it at 4:30 on Monday. I was blind.
I know.
Absolutely blind. And it's weird because, nothing, your depth is way off.
Right.
Way off. Everything's brighter. And it was one of those situations where, not one of those things you want to be in. People talk about it. Those can be dangerous.
You definitely don't want to drive during it.
Well, I did.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where at least I didn't have to drive to Cleveland. I had meetings throughout the evening because we're, I don't know if you know this, but we're 2 weeks away from official Friday Night Football.
I know.
So things are happening at a rapid pace, and it's one of those things where people thought I was looking at them funny. I don't know if you've ever seen the Seinfeld where George got grapefruit in his eye, so he kept winking at people. So I was just kind of looking at people funny, I think, because I was, even Sarah was like, "What? Why are you looking at me so weird?" I was like, I can't see you. I can't. The worst was keyboard. I'm trying to type and order my new glasses, and it was I was like, that looks like a 7. But I felt like I was back in the seat at the eye doctor. I'm like, he's like, read the next line. I'm like, I can't. I just can't. But no, kudos to you, man, kicking off the show, flying solo on a Friday. On a Friday where there's so much going on. The last minute calls are tough because you guys talk about the show prior to the show,
right,
and you get an outline, and they're what we call bouncing points, right?
Right.
And that's tough to do alone. It's very tough, especially in a 2-hour show. It's very tough to play volleyball with yourself. Bump set spike. I got it. Bump set.
One of the things about that, I was telling you tonight, I was like, man, you guys are getting sick a lot because like the reason he had to take his daughter is because his wife got sick this morning. I was like, I'm never coming to dinner at your house. You guys are eating some kind of food poisoning. You're getting sick like every other week. No chance.
Zero chance. Like I love Ty, but like they get sick. Like but like when you have a small person in your house,
right? It's a petri dish.
It is. And it's like when we had the girls, it was, oh my gosh, I had sicknesses I hadn't had in ever. And it was constant because when you have kids in preschool, I mean, they put everything in their mouth. They put everything, like anything and everything is going into the germ-infested petri dish that is preschool. And I know Ty's daughter's a little bit older than that, but it's still like when you have kids, man, you can't control when you get sick.
Especially in the summer because they're all hanging out with their friends.
Yeah, and it's, summer, you're high action, high activity, right? You're playing on playgrounds, you're sweating, there's other germs and stuff that are out there. You'd think COVID would have made us a lot more alert about, germs and stuff like that. But I feel like it did the opposite. I feel like it's actually like bounce the other way. Yeah, that's right, Marky. I got you. This was a gift from the Roths. They bought me a T-shirt as well. But the hat I love. It's like the official dad cap of my house.
We were talking the other day, the new Akron logo. Me and Richie didn't even know there was a Z.
Clueless.
In the A. We're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, like you made me sound so stupid. I'm over at my desk and there's no A and Z. I was like, there's an A and a Z. There's a Z in the A. No. And then there was.
It's creative. It's creatively put in there. It's kind of like the subtle. You have to see it. Then once you see it, you're like, oh, that's pretty clever.
It's art.
Right.
It's art. You have to give the art a full 42 minutes and appreciate the art. That's what my art teacher used to, because periods were 42 minutes long.
Right.
So he would be like, you have to give the art a full 42 minutes. I cracked up. Like I love when he said it because I've used it in my life. You have to give the art, Anthony, a full 42 minutes. And then people are like, why 42 minutes? That's how long a period was at East Palestine High School.
My art teacher was so cool. He was an older gentleman, rode a motorcycle, leather jacket, like he was living in the 60s, and we loved it.
My buddy and I drove our art teacher wild our senior year. Like drove him absolutely bananas to the point where he like left the class just to have his own peace and quiet because like we were there to draw and paint and stuff like that, but we weren't there. Like he wanted to teach art history, and there's art history that you could take as a class or art. We took art, so we were in there with like freshmen because you're supposed to take that as a freshman. And my buddy and I were like, I was the agitator. I was the smart aleck, as you can imagine. But I gave the art a full 42 minutes every day, and he was appreciative. Greg Aker, if anybody knows Greg, tell him I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Tell him I'm very sorry.
I apologize
for all those terrorizing insults and comments 20 years ago. 20 years ago.
10 for me. So
I'm old, man. Yeah. I'm old.
Yeah. Time never stops. That's the thing about it.
It's crazy. We've been doing this. This will be our 6th year of football.
Right? 17 to 22, right?
Yep.
So
this is incredible. We're going on our 6th year of the company. 6th season of football, 6th season of Coach's Corner, 6th season of, I mean, everything you put together, profiles. We got Shane Lindstrom coming up on the Power Hour. It's hard to believe. And people don't believe me when I say that it all runs together. Mm-hmm. The last week, Richie and I were talking about this. The last week is like the first week I've been able to literally slow down and focus on something other than going and calling a game. It's been wild. It's been what, and like we do these interviews and they all run together and like names and I'm not good with names in the first place,
right?
but like having to remember a coach's name, and that's the toughest thing about this job is remembering players' names, because some of them don't play till they're sophomores, juniors, even seniors, and you're supposed to remember them, from the first time you meet them. It's very, very challenging.
That's why we love the rosters.
Yeah, if you're out there and you're a school or you're an athletic director, or listen, we're trying to help you out this year. Send us your rosters. We're going to put it on your team's page on YSN. We have every single football schedule that will be up by the end of the weekend. Austintown Fitch was the first one to go up, and it's up there. So if you want to see what Austintown Fitch is up against this year for football, you can go to ysnlive.com/ I think it's Fitch. It might be Austintown Fitch. I don't know what it is. It's the first school in the AAC. So click on that, and you can click right on their schedule. But we want to get the rosters too, because I think that there's a value to knowing who's playing on the teams and not having to. I mean, that's the biggest thing we get is who's on the roster. But like all of our announcers have to know who's on the roster. So put on the site.
That's why it's always one of our first questions on these season previews with Coaches Corners. Like, go over your roster. Let us know who are the big names that we should watch are. That way, worst comes to worst, we can go back to that interview and be like, well, they said this kid was going to be good.
Coaches, they've got to have it tough too, man. Think of some of the guys like Paul Cusick's been with Crestview for 24 years. Coach Yeagley's been there at South Range for over 2 decades. Think about all the people that have come through that program, and you have to memorize their names and identify their skill sets and talents and what they can bring to the table. Like, we're just announcers. Like,
right.
We have nothing to do with them other than we get yelled at whenever we don't interview them. But the reality is these coaches have to know all these kids by names. Again, skill sets and understand what their strengths and weaknesses are. I always will tip my cap to coaches, because it never, ever gets old trying to understand their mindset and how quick they are, because it's not like you've got Ben Roethlisberger for 18 years in one program. You got a kid for maximum 4 years, and they're gone. And then you got to move on to the next one.
When, we both have been kind of diving into these Coaches Corners last week, and, you've gotten a couple, we've gotten a couple. What have been some of the things that you've been taking away that make you so excited for this upcoming season and this upcoming fall sports season? Anything kind of stick out to you this year that you think is going to be like, something to watch out for?
It's the unpredictability this year. I think everybody knows, a couple teams maybe that are going to be good, but are they? Mm-hmm. I think more this year than any year that we've had, there is an unpredictability of who's going to be there when it's all said and done, when the dust settles. And like, you talked to Sean Guerrero at Springfield rather, and he talks. This is the first time he's been an underdog since we've been around,
right?
And I don't believe that they're really the underdogs. Like, people are talking about it like they are. Like, they lost Bo, and they lost obviously some seniors that are very talented, but they've got some dudes, and they're now D7. So explain to me how they're not favored to win some of these games. They have 62 guys, Anthony. That means that 62% roughly of boys in their school play football.
Right.
That is a unbelievable advantage when you go up against teams that have 20. You're 3 times bigger than they are. That is a huge advantage. Imagine having to roll up with 3 buses as opposed to 1.
That's this intimidation factor, right? And
it's awesome.
How many teams lose to Springfield before they even step on the field? Because it's the name, right? The name is going to win them a couple of games.
Well, and that was the funny part is I don't think anybody here, like, we all know who Springfield is here,
right,
in the family of YSN. But the other people, the other teams, they have no idea what's coming their way. And part of me just imagines, I imagine like in movies, like that these coaches are on the phone and the red phone rings. They pick it up. Sir, it's Springfield. They're in D7. And then somebody goes, my God. Gets real serious about it. It can't be. Not Springfield.
And all the D6 coaches got the same call about Kirtland.
Yeah.
Hey, Kirtland's in D6 now.
No, not again. But Kirtland's been there before.
I know, they have. They kind of flip-flop.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that Springfield's ever been D7.
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that I understand. So this is new territory for the Springfields, and I think that the identifier for me is that everything's up in the air. South Range supposed to be good, Brookfield supposed to be good. Other than that, like, I'm wearing this JFK shirt. I have no idea where they're going to end up.
There are like the traditional programs that are going to be good, but I think the question is, how good are they really going? Like, how good is that good? Like JFK, they're going to be a good team. Are they going to be their standard of like going back to state good?
I think you nailed it. I think the standard, Mike Tomlin, the standard is a standard, right?
Right.
I watched an interview with him this morning, and he's excited about the new challenges. And I think a lot of these coaches are in the same boat around the area. What I'm most excited about, Anthony, is that we have, I would argue, the best tandem of quarterbacks that we've seen in this area in a very, very long time. Like a very, very long time. We're
going to see a big matchup week 1, Drew Shields
and Brock Lowry. And then you've got Jackson Johnson, and you've got Billy Skirpak, and the list goes on and on and on. I don't know that we've ever seen this many talented quarterbacks, like elite talented. Most of them probably could go D1. I don't know that we've ever seen this before in that one position. And that is exciting.
Yeah, I can't think of a time.
Drew DeShields, I'm here for it. That's all I'm saying.
He just committed to Eastern Illinois University yesterday.
Yeah, I'm here for it. Like, he is the Tom Brady of this area, hands down. I cannot say enough good things about this young man. The way that he prepares, the way that he talks, the way that he walks, the way that he plays, the confidence in him is unbelievable. It's that it factor that every coach looks for. And then you've got the other, I don't want to say then you've got the other guys, but you have different intricacies of each quarterback. Like Jackson Johnson might be the biggest threat to any team's defense in the area. Like, he can win or lose a game by himself.
Right.
100%. There's no doubt about it, because number one, he does everything backwards. He's a lefty. So you've got a plan, and then you've got to reverse it. Like, you got to play in the mirror, basically. And that can screw some people up. I mean, we've seen professional athletes that can't catch a ball. Antonio Brown.
Their whole receivers, because we've seen.
Because it goes the other way.
Jerry Rice has said it when he had to do Steve Young from Joe Montana. He's like, this guy, his rotation is different. I can't read the ball in the air. And you would think, well, like, how different can it be? But if professionals are saying it, there's got to be a smudge of truth.
Jerry Rice hired the equipment manager to throw him left-handed footballs for an entire year in the offseason. Like, hired him to do that. Like, there must be something to it. And you look at these Salem receivers, there's a lot of unknowns because Blaze Exline was the guy, right? What happens whenever you have a bunch of unknowns that Jackson can throw to at will? And then he can also get it done with his legs. I mean, he will create a receiver or multiple receivers this year. I'm positive.
He's talented enough to break some rules of quarterbacking too. Like, break some fundamental rules that like defenses are watching for. He'll break it, and then you won't be set up for it.
It's the difference in a fight between an eye poke, right, with one person, or a punch with 5.
Right. And
Johnson is going to have that ability to do it. The American Missile, as we've dubbed him here on the on YSN. The dude he's unbelievable, and people just glaze over him because, well, let's face it, you got Drew in the conference. You know what I mean? You got all the stars pointed there. Vinny Ballone, how is he not in the conversation?
Let's not skip that guy.
Stud. And you know what? He's going to be there, and he's going to be doing special things for Louisville this year. Louisville will have, and I think a lot of people have Louisville circled as possibly the MVAC champion.
If they get their O-line, shored up, that was their bugaboo last year against the Springfields of the world.
And Vinny still passed for 8 billion yards,
right,
and ran for more. So, like, if he gets a little bit of help, even if he doesn't, what's he going to do? Because he's grown another 3 inches, and the kid, I mean, he's grown man now.
Right.
What are you going to do about it? That's what Vinny Ballone should be saying is, what are you going to do about it? And I think there's only a handful of teams that they play on their schedule that'll be able to do anything.
And Louisville is one of those teams that is not going to be intimidated by the Springfields of the world.
No,
They're not going to step on the field being like, "Oh, it's Springfield. Now we have to be tight."
no, they're not gonna back away, certainly. But I think they also know what they're up against.
Right.
You know,
Like they'll respect them, but they're not like there are some teams that are going to lose to Springfield before they step on the field because of the name.
You're absolutely. Was Louisville the team that showed up? I can't remember. There was a team I did a game for Springfield, and one of the teams showed up like right at national anthem, and that was like planned. And I was like, "This is new." Like the national anthem was playing, and they were bringing the Gatorade off the bus, and I was like, "This is interesting. This is interesting." Ty's here.
Yeah, Ty's here.
Yeah, finally made it here, boys. Finally made it here.
Michael Klockner is also here from McDonald Volleyball, so we're gonna take and bring him on. And I don't think he has his camera up. Coach Klockner, can you hear us?
That's a no.
That's a no.
Looks like we also have glitch gremlins that are joining us.
But we'll try to fix Coach Klockner's issues. We'll reach out to him, see what's happening.
But no, thank DJ obviously for coming on and helping out this first half hour. Had to take the old girl to the eye doctor, her first one too, and surprise, she needs glasses and in a family full of bad eyes. So she's just going to join that long list of people that need glasses. So we got that result, but thankfully we're here too. Turns out there was actually an emergency. Some kid, I guess, had something caught in their eye too. So I guess sitting there in the waiting room too, being a little bit mad about how long we had to wait, it puts things into perspective. It makes you realize things can be a lot worse out there too. So,
Amen.
So
when your eye appointment's at Akron Children's Hospital, emergency situation.
yeah, and that's what they basically told us, is that it's what you expect when you come here. So got that squared away, and it sounds like we're talking about football season. So I came right at the right time, it looks like, as well.
I don't know why we started on this. It was just one of those things we just said, hey, because you were talking about volleyball, and I apologize.
Yeah. No, we were going to talk to 3 coaches today, so I previewed their seasons and some of the teams that they're going to be running up against in their conferences.
Well, fall sports is in the air, man, and I mean, there's excitement swirling. I mean, you guys are talking about the QB play. I mean, absolutely. And then there's the guys too. You mentioned like Vinny Balone. How about guys like Joey Fell out of Champion too?
Mm-hmm.
It rushed and passed for over 1,000 yards too. Like those are the guys. That just shows how deep this talent pool is. And that's again MVAC on the opposite side of it, on the gray side.
You're gonna have a healthy Bengala in Gerard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Gerard's one of those teams that like we've talked about too. Gerard just gets there. They're always in the conversation. And a 12 seed, like we said last year, Ant, that made a nice run again once they made it to the playoffs. Gerard's just a football program that just gets it. They seem to know how to win, and they seem to know how to always put the right guys in the right places.
Well, Coach Pearson is an absolutely phenomenal coach. I mean, there's hands down. I mean, you go back to the Wade days where, he was quote unquote cutting his teeth, but his coaching staff was amazing. And, ask any head coach what it's like to coach, and they're going to talk. I mean, they do it all the time on their show. They talk about their staff, right? And you guys give them the opportunity to do it. Well, that's how you create a winning environment, a winning culture, is you create yourself who is going to be, the team's going to be personified by, but also you add people on your staff that are going to bring strengths to your weaknesses. And that's why I love this area, is because they seemingly have figured that out. Gerard's a great program who understands that probably before many. But I feel like all the other coaches and in all sports are figuring that out, where they go, listen, I'm not really good at this, so I need to go find somebody and recruit somebody that's good at this, so that way instead of a 6, we're an 8. You know what I mean? And we can compete with the 8s of the world instead of just hanging out at the 6.
A lot of week 1 matchups too. You mentioned, I mean, Canfield West Branch, I think, kicks things off on a Thursday too, of all days too. So they're going to be one of those Thursday games. It's going to be exciting. We're right now T-minus, I guess, 2 weeks now technically until the first football Thursday, I guess, of the year too. We got Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday it's going to be volleyball. there's so many teams and so many conferences I feel like that are so wide open right now in the football realm. You guys were talking about, I mean, will Springfield be Springfield again? And that's kind of an ongoing discussion we've had. Yeah, no Bo Brungard, but I feel like some people are seemingly forgetting Coach Guerrero has 50 more wins than he does losses in his career at Springfield.
Here's the bugaboo is it's not just Bo Brungard. You lost both Brungards, right? Mark Brungard was an unbelievable offensive coordinator for Sean, and I don't think Sean's backing away at all. But I think that's one thing that people don't realize is there was 2 Brungards that were taking you down, not just one. Give Bo his credit naturally, but like now both of them are moving on, and now there's new opportunities, but it's also a chance for Springfield to come at you from a different angle, to have a different look. Colton Rourke, who I think is going to be QB1, is taller. I think he's 6'3", 215. Chiseled out of stone. Like the kid is I mean, we've seen him play baseball. He's got a strong arm, arguably stronger than what Bo had, but Bo had a different skill set. And I think that's what, as long as you can base off of what your skill set is and your team can thrive. Now, the interesting thing, they also have Shondell Gardner, which he can play quarterback. So if you see those two lined up in the backfield, it is going to be, pick your poison. Because if it gets snapped to Shondell and you're going for Colton, you could be in for a long day. But we know that Coach Guerrero likes those trick plays, and I just got a feeling that he's going to take that into consideration.
Yeah, Mark Roth pointing out that Michael Palmer coming off an 1,000-yard rushing performance from Girard as well. So they'll have a healthy Nate Bengala, and they'll also have Michael Palmer returning in their backfield.
Austintown Fitch, to me, and I haven't put this out there yet, but I can't wait to talk to TJ. They are going to be the biggest question mark for me because there's a lot of people doubling down on Fitch, but they had some severe losses and some big names that walked across that stage. And the people that are going to be there to pick it up, I'm not doubting them, but I'm wondering what it's going to look like because we haven't seen it, right? Was it DJ Williams, right, Ty? The running back?
DJ Williams is the other one, and then you got Jamel James too. Are going to be the 2-back set. I would think they're going to run with those guys.
The running backs, I don't think they're going to have any issues with. But in any game of football, it all comes down to the quarterback. So the question mark is going to be, how do you replace what they've lost? And I don't think that anybody's been able to put their finger on that and say, okay, this makes sense. But that's how Billy Skirpak came to be at South Range. How are you going to replace this guy? Oh, just a professional quarterback. You know what I mean? A guy that can chuck it 60 yards.
South Range has had so many of those. Like Ryan Miller wasn't supposed to be, a big name, and then all of a sudden he replaced Ross Stouffer. And Ryan Miller's a big quarterback, took them really far.
Yeah, it's incredible. You look at this, and they just keep popping them out. And people are like, oh, well, whenever Skirpak graduates, then we're going to get South Range. No, now you get a toy.
Right.
I mean, and that sends shivers down down the spines of anybody that's ever played South Range with a toy anywhere involved. Is now you got a toy that's going to be at the helm for South Range for the next 2 years. So I can't wait to see what Fitch does. I'm excited as always. TJ and his team do a great job of hyping it up, but it's been a little quiet, and I'm a little concerned because typically this time of year, it's like 4th of July, like fireworks are going off. TJ's got his own fireworks show going, and it's all red, white, and blue fireworks. Mark says, big shoes to fill. I believe the Falcons will have a different look, but will be a force to be reckoned with.
If I'm going to take my guess, and I know Deshaun Vaughn was getting a lot of reps and like big wins and everything at quarterback position. And if you know Deshaun Vaughn from basketball, dude's a gamer. So I don't doubt the competitive nature if he's going to end up being QB1. But like Mark said, he's going to be a little bit different look. I don't think he has big of an arm as Devin, but he definitely has a little bit more speed. So you might see a triple option set with those 2 running backs, and then you have you got Deshaun there.
I like that.
It might be a run-heavy Falcons offense, but that's what the Falcons were for so many years under Coach Annarella before Coach Parker was there. Devin Sherwood kind of just broke the mold and became a very big passing quarterback for the Falcons in recent years.
Can I just tell people that don't know that Cheney's going to be awesome?
Oh my God.
Like people are they're just sitting there thinking, okay, Cheney's going to be, I mean, is it like, why are we not blowing up Cheney at this point? Like Cheney is going to be off the hook good because Jason's back. Like, and if he is a fifth of what he was before he got injured last year, the kid is going to be like, he's going to be the player of the year. Player of the year.
Coach Antrim always going to do a great job over there too with his coaching experience. I think it's going to be it's big shoes to fill, obviously, and we know Coach Emil did a fantastic job over there. But Coach Antrim, no doubt, fantastic coach, fantastic for the area. And I don't know, I'm sure you've seen it, DJ, but that Reign Stadium, I've commented on it before. It is gorgeous, that new turf and how they
Clark. I like the way that they threw back to yesteryear. Like every school that was inner cities on the logo. I think that's an awesome tribute. I think that's a phenomenal way to carry things out because, you know, you can get carried away with, okay, well, this end zone's blue and gold and this end zone's red and gray. Like, explain to me why, you know, it says Youngstown, and I love it. I love it because those kids play for Youngstown. You know, no matter which city school they go to, they play for Youngstown. And that's, to me, that's one of the coolest things that they did. So kudos to them on the design.
Yeah, and one of the things I like that, you know, the Youngstown in the end zone, like you said, but it's just it's giving you something to be proud of again for like those city schools.
Yeah, I mean,
somewhere where you can say this is our home now, and you know we're funneling back into it.
What year was it that they had to do all? Was it all their games were on the road?
Yeah,
I think it was year 0, 2020 year. I think.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that had to be the most challenging thing for a coach because you don't have a place to hang your hat, and for kids, I mean, you don't have a home locker room to go into and basically regenerate, right? Because at halftime, listen, you're down a touchdown. You go into your locker room, you see, like when I was in school, we hung up in our locker the reasons we were there, right? The same way you do at work. You put up the reasons, you put up your why. You go back in that locker room, you're down 7. Coach says, look in your locker. You are not going to lose for those people. You know, you're going to go out there and you're going to give it your all for those people that are in your locker. You don't have one. Like, and let's be honest, most of the time, the visitors, and especially during the COVID era, were not treated to the lap of luxury. You were lucky to get a tent on a sideline, right? Because they didn't want people congregating in the same space. So I'm excited. It's got to be a happy moment for Seth, for Coach Mark to be able to really say, this is our house.
We have a cricket in here again. Did you hear it? I heard it.
I was going to say, it did sound like there was a cricket for a second. I was
Omaha is back.
It's not fall with no cricket.
Omaha 6.
Cheney, though, I mean, to your point, Cheney tough is just a different type of tough, man. And they've battled adversity. You talk about having all road games. You talk about playing with an injury to Jason Hewlett, first game of the season. They find a way to battle through it. A lot of these guys that have played the last 2 years that have battled through this adversity, they're ready for a winning season. I think Cheney's going to come out super hungry this year.
Here's another big school that's seemingly flying under the radar again with a new coach at the helm. You got DJ Dota in Boardman, and Boardman is looking to be traditionally back to normal, back to business, right? You know, they had Seth last year. Seth decided he's going to go to Cheney, back to his old stomping grounds. And I don't think there's a whole lot of people that blamed him given the situation, but Boardman took offense to that. You know, the community said, no, when you're Boardman forever. You know, we all know what it's like. And I think that there's a lot of proving to do. And DJ Dota is one of the perfect guys to do it because of what he's been through, the adversity he's faced. And don't forget, he spent a long time at West Branch. And he's done a lot of good things at West Branch. And now he's the helm of one of the area's largest teams. And I was out there a couple weeks ago and just got to he's got a great coaching staff under him. And they're going to be good. I really think that Boardman's that team that everybody always expects to be good. And it's hard to fly under the radar when you're good like that. But after, I think it was a 5-5 season last year, 4-6, something like that. I think that he's going to get Spartan Nation up and excited again. And, I can't wait to sit down with him and Steve and talk to him about what his expectations are of this Spartan football team.
I tell you what, I think everyone's eyes are going to be glued to YSN. That August 26th game, Cheney comes to town for Boardman. So that week 2 game, everyone's going to be watching it. It's going to be a great matchup.
I'm excited.
We missed Coach Klockner, but we are going to bring on Coach Martin from Columbiana Volleyball, and we'll talk a little bit to her. Coach, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad it's August, volleyball season.
Volleyball is upon us.
Yes, it's August 1st.
Yeah. Volleyball's upon us, Coach, and we already know Columbiana does volleyball. It seems like different. You guys always get great numbers out there, great competition. What is it looking like from your end with the girls participating? What do we got coming back this year, and who are we looking to be mainstays on this roster?
We've got a lot of girls out. We've got 26 on the roster right now between freshmen to seniors. We lost a big senior class. We lost 6 of our seniors from last year: Tori Long, Julia Rapp, Liv Samil, Tommy Ross, Camille Zettner, and Kaylee Cranville. So that was a big loss to lose that experience and lose that talent, especially because some of them were 3- and 4-letter varsity winners. But we had a talented freshman class last year. So this year they'll be moving up as sophomores. So we're young, but a lot of them have at least a year of varsity experience. So we're going to kind of count on that, use what they learned from last year's seniors, and hopefully build upon that. We have 4 returning sophomore starters. We have Ellie Jackson. She was a setter last year. She'll probably run as a setter and outside hitter this year. She's gotten pretty strong in the front row. Ava Heinrichs, another sophomore. She played outside hitter and defense last year, so we're looking forward to having her on the lineup. Kelsey Cameron started as a freshman last year. She'll be our middle hitter. And then Cameron Perkins actually played right side hitter last year. We'll probably move her also, have her right side and set also, so we can run a 6-2. And then we have a couple other sophomores. Danica Hallis has been swinging pretty hard in the front row. Marin Hepler as a defensive specialist. And then we're bringing in junior Delaney Dixon. She'll probably run our libero defense this year. And then we have 2 seniors, Bradley Cassandra and Addie Zahn, that will also help lead the team. And 2 more juniors, Maria Malcolmson, Chloe Loveland. They're also part of our roster to just help us grow. So we got a big roster. It's great for practices because we have enough to scrimmage back and forth. And just, we work to make each other better. Compete all the time.
When I'm hearing you talk, and it seems like even with your returning starters, you're going to try to put people in new roles and try to get them to kind of expand on their volleyball skills and see how they can shine in different roles in the team. How has that summer been in trying to kind of put people in new roles? How have they handled the mentality of saying, hey, you were this to us last year, but you're going to be this to us this year? And of course, accepting those roles and understanding what they're going to be to the team this year.
I think a lot of them are excited to take on the role. We've had a busy summer with some camps. Unfortunately, never once have I had every single player together on the court. So I'm looking forward to our first game because I'm hopefully at that point we'll have everybody together. The group of girls, they're a great group of girls. They love the game of volleyball. A lot of them work in the off season. They play club in the off season. So they have worked in some of those positions. I think one of the biggest things that we need to do is learn to work beside each other because they are in new positions and they are playing with different people like next to them than they might not be used to. So for the most part, everybody's really taken on their role as a team. And we really talk about what your role is on the team and what you can do to help the team be successful. We got a great group of girls. They're always cheering each other on, always high-fiving. We talked to them the other day, they're good teammates. And it's great to have that in the gym, just to have, that going on.
I mentioned about the success Columbiana has. There's not too many years. I can only think of maybe a couple in the last 10 where you guys didn't win 10 games in a season. What is the secret to that? You mentioned how you graduated all the seniors this past season. How are you able to maintain that kind of level of success with these girls year in and year out, losing seniors like you do year after year?
I mean, I think we try to keep that competitiveness. We do a lot of competitive drills, and I know they're teammates, but they also compete against each other. Like I said, they really have a drive. We also work a lot with our middle school team. We've got about 26 girls out in the middle school, and our middle school coaches are really good at developing them. We try to run a freshman squad just to get them some more playing time. A lot of times they don't have a whole lot of freshman only games because a lot of them move up and play JV as well. But we just try to get everybody on the court and try to develop people so that when it is time for them to jump into those roles, they're ready.
And because of that, you have a standard at Columbia and a standard inside this program. And I think every girl that comes in understands it. How have you kind of seen this particular group embrace the standard of success and try to raise that bar and reach that bar in their work in the summer and their work in these next scrimmages and what they're doing to try to keep that standard high?
They come into the gym ready to work every single day. We've been pushing them pretty hard these last 4 days, and they haven't stopped. A lot of conditioning drills, a lot of running. It's hot in our gym. I know you know that if you've been in here. And, I never once is anybody stopping. Like I said, they really push each other. And, I think that that's kind of what we expect when you step into the gym. You always, when you're on the court, like you give it, that's your time to be on the court, be in those shoes and do what you need to do. So, like I said, they work really hard. And I think just that expectation that when you're in here, this is what we do.
Obviously, another great showing in the conference last year, came up just short of the conference crown, but Wellsville, obviously a very talented team. How do you see yourselves competing in this conference this year? Obviously, we know it's a tough EOAC. Where do you see yourself finishing in it?
I think it's going to be a real tough EOAC. They're always tough, and I always feel like that league game, when it's a league game, it always puts a little bit more pressure on everybody. But Wellsville, Southern, United, East Palestine, us, I really hope that we're at the top, obviously. But I think it's going to be competitive. I think the Wellsville matchup will be a real good one, like it always is. They have a great program down there. Southern, they always give us a big, strong game. Same thing with East Palestine and United. I hope we're at the top, but I think it's going to be a rough road to get there, which is good. We love competition, and, that makes us better playing against tough teams.
I'm looking at your schedule, and obviously everyone knows what the EOC has to bring, but you guys have built a little bit of a non-conference rivalry with McDonald the last couple of years. These matches have been really high competitiveness, and I think you've both taken a couple from each other, and you opened the season with McDonald. What's it like to have them twice on your schedule and to kind of build this non-conference rivalry with a team like that?
Yeah, they're tough. They've done a great job with their program. I know that they've only been around for volleyball for a couple years now. And they've just really built that program up so well. It is a rivalry, and it always ends up a battle. I think almost every match we've had in the last 2 years have gone 5 sets. We always seem to start off with them too. For some reason, we have our home opener with them. So we're definitely preparing for that. It's always on a Saturday too. We always play them on Saturdays. So that's a little bit of a struggle sometimes mentally and getting up in the morning, but that's one of our tough non-conference games that we're trying to prepare for and get ready for.
Obviously, we talked about the conference and just the season outlook. You can't control what other teams do successful-wise, so you can't naturally predict where you're going to finish conference. But what are the things that you can control that Columbiana needs to do right to see themselves atop of the EOAC?
I think what we're going to focus on this year is us playing offense as much as we can, trying to utilize some of our big hitters in the front row. Anytime we can get our opponents out of system and making them send a ball back that's not as hard driven, that we can continue to run the pace and run our offense and score points that way.
Coach, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to highlight your coaching staff and the people that you have behind you. We know that head coaches get all the interviews, get all the limelight, but we know that you also have great people behind you that make this program great. So
I do.
want to give you a chance to highlight them.
Yes, I have a lot of people. So I have Coach Wilkinson and Coach Dangler up here at the high school with me. They were both with me for the last 2 years. Coach Wilkinson has been with me since I took over, and she's been in Columbiana volleyball for a while now. So we really appreciate all she brings to the game in terms of knowledge. and things like that. Coach Peak and Coach Ysn are our middle school coaches. And like I said, they do a great job of developing. They kind of know how we run things up here. Both of them are Columbiana alumni. So it's nice to have them because they know what's expected of Columbiana volleyball. And they really work hard to get them prepared to come into high school. And then Coach Mosier and Coach Rich, they both coached in the past. We're hoping to get them a little bit in the gym and just kind of getting them to help whenever they're able to.
Coach, we wish you the best of luck. We thank you so much for popping on to give us a little bit of preview. We look forward to covering your team all season, and we know that as the season goes on, we'll have you on again real soon.
Yes, and I want to thank you guys for always covering all different sports and a variety of sports. We really appreciate it, highlighting the local athletes, and you guys are just dedicated and passionate, and it really shows. So thank you for all you guys do too.
And we couldn't do it if you don't put on a good show for us.
Right.
We love it as well, Coach. Thank you.
Yep, have a good day.
We go from one coach out of Columbiana County to another one, and this is Alicia Auer from Crestview. How are you doing, Coach? And
I'm good. How are you?
This is exciting times, exciting season. I know over there in Crestview, it's always exciting, I think, for upcoming volleyball seasons, right? I guess we'll just start off right where we started off with Coach Martin. It's always a new season, new faces that we're going to be seeing in the program. What are some faces that we're going to be seeing in this Crestview program and mainstays on this roster this year?
Well, I have three varsity returners from last year. So we're kind of, a little bit inexperienced on the varsity court, but I'm telling you what, we've had a phenomenal preseason so far, and I'm looking forward to it. I have 5 seniors, all of which contribute a great deal. However, they didn't play a lot of varsity last year. We had a loaded roster of seniors, so these kids are going to step into that role. I have 4 juniors, 2 sophomores, and a freshman, all rostered for varsity this year.
Coach, I imagine those seniors that, like you said, didn't get a whole lot of varsity time last year, I feel like that makes them hungry to come on and kind of prove themselves this year as not just vocal and emotional leaders, but kind of statistical leaders that they can make immediate impact on the team. Have you seen that this summer from the seniors that you have, that they are just ready for this opportunity?
It's really fun to watch because they all work hard and they kind of take turns stepping up into a role. And honestly, at any point in time, some of them are interchangeable. So that's that healthy competitiveness, and they're very positive with each other. So it kind of sets the tone at practice just to keep getting better and better and getting that court time.
Obviously, the team last year, very successful, and it ended in a little bit of a heartbreaking fashion. But do you see the starters that were on that last year's team, do you see it as an advantage of them having that experience and being able to bring that back to this team this year?
Absolutely. I mean, they're hungry for that. Losing by 2 points in regional finals being the only loss of our season, that they know that feeling, and they have set their goals high to start. And they back it with their work ethic, and they're ready to try and repeat and go further than we did last year.
Coach, I talked to you right after that game, but you were ready for this season right after that game was over. I mean, you wanted to get right back to it. If they told you that you could start a new season in November, you would have. How much anticipation has been building for the season for you personally?
A lot. These girls have worked very hard in the off season. We've had some kids on very successful club teams playing at a very high level, and to bring it back home and to create an environment of a winning tradition and just moving forward with that. There's so much excitement in the gym. I have some pretty high level volleyball players on the court, and it feeds, and it's exciting, and it's fun, and the environment is just, we're ready. Like, I know today we had a scrimmage, and the excitement is just super high, and they're ready to start. I mean, I think we've been anticipating it all year, and it's finally here, and the girls are excited. I'm excited. It's just a really fun group. I mean, from the seniors to the freshmen, they're given an effort every day. We practice hard. We practice intense. We train a ton. We do a lot of conditioning, and they're really laying it out there. They want to get better. So yeah, it's a very exciting, fun environment.
How do you walk that fine line as a coach of trying to keep the winning tradition with the team, but also making sure the team realizes that this isn't last year's team, this is their own unique team?
It's fun. It's interesting because every year we have a solid group of seniors that does their job. And when they move on, you're happy to see them moving on with their life. You're sad to see them leave the program. And you always wonder, how are we going to replace this? How are we going to fill those spots? And then these kids work hard and they jump into that position and create their own environment. And every year the seniors are excited to be seniors. They're excited to, make their warm-up tape, pick the gear that we get for the team. So every year the seniors have their jobs that make this their senior year, that makes this team unique from previous years. We learn from the year before, we build forward, and we hope to continue our success.
I want to talk about your schedule and the teams you'll be facing. Obviously, you're in that MVAC grades here. Last year came down to you and Garfield. You were the only 2 losses on Garfield's conference schedule, and that's kind of what it came down to. But Brookfield, was really competitive last year as well. Newton Falls always seems to put out a competitive team. Talk about this MVAC and how hard it's going to be to keep your dominance on it.
I think Garfield definitely will be returning a strong team. It's kind of odd for us to play in that league because we're so far away from the other teams. So I see the teams when we play them, but then I don't really know the kids like we know the local kids. It's funny, I watched the tail end of Columbiana's interview, and I'm feeling like, yeah, I know the kids who play on Columbiana's team, and that's cool. And you have that rivalry. And when I look at our league, I don't know the teams as well, and I don't know the kids as well as what I wish I did. I can't go scout a team because the game's an hour away, right? We don't have the time to do that. I do know that Garfield will be solid. Brookfield, they had a solid program last year. They actually are the only team in the conference that took us past 3. I know Camel's been working real hard. Their coach puts a ton of time in. Liberty was solid last year. So there's a lot of unknowns for me. La Brea always fights with us. So, every game we walk into, we want to have the same expectation as to play our game at our level on our side of the court. We make adjustments after we've seen the teams once. It's easier to make the adjustments the second times through. But in all reality, as much as I don't like to admit that, I don't really get a chance to scout the teams in our league very often.
And, the non-conference schedule, I know you have to be excited about it because you've beefed it up a little bit this year. There is a couple of really big teams this year, and you don't have to go far because the talent in this area is starting to really grow. So talk about some of the teams that you're excited to play in the non-conference realm.
Well, we play, East Liverpool, Girard, Fitch, Boardman, Salem, and we play Mooney as well. So those 6 teams would be our out of conference. There's a couple more. I just can't place them right now, but those should be the more powerhouse, historically powerful teams that we'll get to see. And most of those are at the second half of our season. So hopefully that will get us ready to step into tournaments and springboard from there.
Let's finish this sentence, I guess. Crestview will get back to regional finals if
our ball control allows us to run our offense.
Coach, you have a couple of more weeks before the season starts. Yeah, I'm sure you have a couple of great scrimmages planned. What are your goals for the team in these next couple of weeks before game 1 to see? And what do you want to have accomplished before you open the season against Liberty?
I want to have a set lineup where we know our rules, where we know who our serve receivers are. There's not questioning whose ball is this, whose ball is that. There's no miscommunications, that we can run as a very strong unit instead of wondering what the person next to you is going to do. So that's going to come with getting a finalized lineup. This year I've had a couple kids miss for the fair, so we've made changes, adaptation, and the kids have done great. But I'm ready to get a solid, specific lineup where everyone knows their roles.
And we talked about the regular season too. I think it's going to be a great test for you too, for these girls as well before the regular season. But in talking about the team, we also like to talk about the coaching staff. So I want to give you a chance to also highlight the 2022 coaching staff edition of the Crestview Rebels.
Well, one of the reasons why I love coaching is because I absolutely love my coaching staff. They're phenomenal. This year, obviously, I'm the head coach. My varsity assistant is Mackenzie Cross, and she has been my JV coach. She's been a freshman coach in the past. This year, we're shifting her to varsity assistant. I'm excited for her to work with the varsity group. My JV coach is Casey Landsberger, who is expecting a baby in early October. So that's kind of exciting for Case, and also a challenge for our team because we're going to make sure that we get those kids covered and shifted when she's out for those couple weeks when the baby's born. Sarah Finch is our freshman coach again. She does a fantastic job. Diane Campbell is our 7th grade coach, or I'm sorry, our 8th grade coach, and McKenna Perazio is new this year. She is our 7th grade coach. She is replacing Cindy Straney, who had been coaching for, oh boy, a long time. She was my coach when I was in middle school. But out of our 6 coaches on staff, 5 of us are Crestview alumni. 5 of us played under either the current coaching staff or under Judy Gregory. I always mention her because she is the founding face of the Crestview volleyball program. And it's really cool to be able to bring back players to become coaches. Casey was a player of mine. McKenna was a player of mine. And to see them work with the younger kids and continue the tradition, it's really exciting. So my coaching staff is fantastic. I'm very blessed to have them. And that's all. I mean, I can't be happier with the people that we have on staff.
Following it up too, I mean, your youth coaches, you shouted out. I mean, just talking from the point of building that winning culture and that winning tradition, how important is it to have those right youth coaches in place to get that youth fed into the program too? And how important are youth coaches to the Crestview Lady Rebels varsity squad?
It's huge because, I mean, we take pride in this program. The most important thing for that middle school is to learn the basics, but to learn to love the game. If it's fun, kids are going to want to be here. They're going to put extra time in. And our middle school coaches do a great job of not only teaching the kids the game, but also making it fun and making it exciting and getting them to love being here. I think that's very important in building a program. I think pride in the program, which we all have. I mean, 5 of us played here, and Coach Finch didn't go to Crestview. However, she works at Crestview, so she's here. So we have a lot of pride in our program, and the girls have a lot of pride in their program. We walk in the gym and we have all of our championship banners on the wall and on the boards, and the girls see that and they want to get their names up there. They want to get their team on that championship board. So I think that, I mean, I've been coaching I was pregnant with my son, Mitchell, when I took this coaching job, and he leaves for college on Monday. So that just says how long I've been here. But you know, year after year, it's fun. We build a tradition, we have fun, we win games. And the girls really put everything they have into it. They're just very proud to be a member of the Crestview volleyball program.
Yeah, and you know, I can sit here and talk to you about volleyball all day, and I can't wait for this season to see you a couple of times and to have our post game talks that we always do. But I don't want to keep you too long because I know you have practice coming up at 1:30.
Pictures. We have pictures.
Pictures. Sorry, pictures are more important than practice. You know?
Don't love pictures, but that's
thank you so much for the time. We look forward to seeing you out there when the season starts. I believe you start on August 23rd.
I believe you're right. Yep. Thank you so much. The coverage is phenomenal. I've watched your YSN coverage of our regional game last year many times, and it's very exciting to watch. So we appreciate everything you guys do for us, for the other teams in the area. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me about our team. And yeah, I can't wait to see you guys in the gym.
And we'll see you soon.
Cool. Thank you.
Coach Hour from Crestview joining us. Let me put my full screen back up real quick. Coach Hour from Crestview joining us, and that's one of the most exciting volleyball teams in the area, hands down. I mean, they've been successful for the last decade. They haven't lost their success. They've won district championships out the wazoo, and they were a breath away from beating a juggernaut last year, like we said at the top of the show. So, you know, that's one of the ones that you circle and say, we got to talk to Coach Hour.
Yeah, and I mean, that follow-up question was just something I really wanted to ask, just because I feel like it goes unnoticed how important some of these youth coaches really are in the development of these top-level players, because every player, like I said, fell in love with the sport somewhere along the way, or they wouldn't be playing it still, or they enjoyed themselves with the sport in some way or another, and it usually is because of a great youth coach that help them find that love at some point. So I think these youth coaches always deserve a great shout out, because they're the ones that usually get these top level athletes initially invested in the sport.
Well, that's one of the reasons why Crestview has sustained their greatness. You know, it's not just, hey, we had one good class of 4 years and they graduated and now we don't know what to do. They've built foundations and they've won. They've done that with past players that believe in the program and want to feed into the program. Like Coach Hour said, everyone, all but one of those coaching on their coaching staff has played for someone in the coaching, carousel. So it's a generational coaching staff. And if you haven't played for Coach Hour, then it was someone that played for Coach Gregory before that. So I remember back when in 2013, 14, 15, their coaching staff was Coach Auer and then Coach Rachel Baker. Rachel Storm Baker was her assistant. So you had one of the best players that probably ever played for Coach Auer with her assistant. So that was back when they went to their only regional final. They lost in the semifinals last year, I believe, not the finals. I think they were matched up with Independence in the semis. But I think everyone felt like that was a regional final because everyone felt like those were the best two teams in the region. When you look at it, a team that consistently gets to regionals, consistently knocking on that door. Hopefully, this is the year they can take that next step and punch a ticket to Wright State University.
The biggest thing, I mean, with this whole with this Crestview team is that they got a beefed up schedule this year, right? And they might drop a game or two in the regular season, unlike last year. But that's not necessarily the worst thing, I think, for the Rebels to kind of get a taste of what a loss might feel like and be able to adjust. I mean, when you play your teams like your Gerards of the world, Mooney can upset you, Salem, Boardman, Fitch, all good teams. When you play those teams, you roll the dice. But either way, a loss in the regular season isn't necessarily the worst thing.
Ty, their last 4 games are all non-conference, and I believe it's Gerard, East Liverpool, Salem, Boardman.
And talk about a way to test yourself.
It's Gerard. This is their last 4 games of the season. Gerard, Fitch, Salem, Boardman.
You want to talk about testing yourself right before a tournament. That seems ideal for a team like Crestview, who was just that close last year to making it. They want to make sure that they're ready.
We were lucky enough to be able to get Coach Klockner back after a couple of technical difficulties earlier in the show. We have him on. Coach, thank you for being patient with us and coming back on here at 1:15.
Oh, no problem. Appreciate you having me on.
Coach, what we like to really do, I mean, since tryouts you have concluded for a lot of teams now, we would like to start off with the Meet the Team segments and who are going to be some mainstays and main faces on this 2022 edition of the Blue Devils.
Well, we have our seniors, Maria Brazil, Megan Zajac. They've been wonderful leaders, about as good as leaders as a coach could ask for. So they've been a big part of our all-season strength conditioning. And then our other returning players will be Megan Klockner, Lauren Sierra, Michaela Lewis, Grace Bundy. Luckily, I have her back. She was out last year with an injury, so we're glad she's back. And then sophomore Gianna Constantino. And then we have a couple of freshmen who will get some varsity time, and Miley Titus and Juliana Krumpak. So we kind of got a good group of girls who are excited for this season to start.
Last season, this was a talented team, but it was also a young team. And I think there were times when you saw that youth kind of come in, and that was one of the things that, when I was talking to you after games, or I was talking to Coach Harker after games, it was like, what we have to do, is just you'll learn, get the experience, get the reps. And now you have them coming into this year. How much growth have you seen from what you saw last year to this summer and the workouts and the scrimmages, and what you hope translates into this year?
Yeah, there's no doubt they've gained experience. A lot of them played club in the off season, so that has really helped with their development. But they're just a really close-knit, tight team. They get along on and off the court, and that really shows in how well they play together on the court. So I'm really excited to get this season going.
What are some things and adjustments you want to make with this team, or you want to see from them right before the season starts?
I know it's a little bit early, but our biggest thing we have to work on is playing more consistently. We have kind of spurts of really, really good play, and then things kind of just go haywire, and then it takes us a little while to get back in our groove. So I'm really hoping that we can fix that sooner than later to play a lot more consistent volleyball, all sets, not just a few sets here and there. So that's something we've really been stressing in these early practices.
Volleyball is a sport where you really don't get into the practice gym a lot during the season. I mean, you hit the ground running, you're playing 3-4 games a week when the season gets rolling. So how important are these summer months and these last couple of weeks to really, get a lot of practice in when you don't get a lot in during the regular season?
Right. Yeah, you're right. We opened up, I think, 3 matches in a row without a practice. So, we have to really get things in ahead of time. We just have to maximize our practice time. Girls come in for some extra work before practice. So, we just really try to use up the time we have and prioritize things we need to work on. So yes, it is very challenging with a tight schedule to get our practices in, as well as our conditioning and weightlifting. But the girls have been very good about it. They've approached every day with a positive attitude, ready to work. So it's exciting to see their approach to this, and again, we're looking forward to getting this going.
It's obviously a very competitive conference in the MVAC Scarlet side. Where do you guys see yourselves, or what should you do, I guess I should say, to be able to get yourselves in that top spot of the conference, finishing second to Western Reserve a year ago?
Yes, there's no doubt we probably have one of the best conferences in the area. Last year in the district finals, 3 of the 4 teams were from our league. So it's a very, very competitive league. We just have to come ready to play every match. There are no slouches in our league. Every league match is going to be tough and challenging. And so we have to be ready each and every match that we get into.
And then, if your league wasn't hard enough, you've put together a pretty strong non-conference schedule too. I mean, you got Columbiana, you got Maplewood, who always puts together a good volleyball team on there. You're going to play Canfield. You're going to play Crestview as a non-conference game. Putting together this schedule, I imagine you're excited for the tests that your girls are going to get throughout the season, and hopefully, for your sake, that prepares them a lot for districts.
Yes, exactly, and that's exactly the reason we beefed up our schedule this year to get us ready for the tournament. Last year we were a little disappointed and losing the first round to a very good Newton Falls team, but we didn't play real well. So hopefully this schedule will help us be more prepared for the tournament. Not only for the players, but also for us coaches to get them better prepared to see really tough competition throughout the year, so that when the tournament comes around, we're more ready than we were last year.
I mean, McDonald being a successful volleyball program, though, hasn't been a secret. You guys have been successful for quite some time. What's the secret to success and sustaining the success beyond multiple classes?
Well, it all goes back to the players. McDonald is known for athletes in all sports. It's a very athletic community and school community. So it's all credit goes to the players. They show up ready to work. They're dedicated to the sport. A lot of them play club, so they're kind of all in. And as a coach, it makes things a lot easier for me that they have the approach to volleyball. So it's all in the players and how they approach everything we do, from weightlifting, conditioning to our practices. They're very positive, and they show up ready to work hard and to improve.
With how successful it's been, it's easy to forget that it's a new program. It's still I think this is the 4th year of McDonald volleyball. So these seniors will be the first ones that have gone through freshman to senior year as volleyball players at McDonald. So when you think about that, you think about how new this program is, what have you seen from the growth of the volleyball program, and how much has it just taken off since it started?
Oh yes, 4th year, we have progressed really well. And again, it goes back to the athletes, but also to my coaches, from Kemi Hefner in the junior high, and now Alex Fisher, both of them great volleyball backgrounds, great volleyball players. And obviously my assistant, Tim Harkerode, have been so instrumental in getting this program going. Started with Amy Harrison, and now, I've learned from her. And then I'm surrounded by these wonderful assistant coaches from the junior high level up to the high school. So they have been so instrumental in helping develop these players. So I'm very, very lucky to have them on my staff.
In talking about the progression that you've seen, I mean, just looking at it as a whole too, what has been the way you've been able to, I guess, build this program up, like we said, from 8, 12 to 16? I mean, consistently getting more and more wins season in and season out. What's been the key to that?
A big part, something I strongly believe in is strength and conditioning. Having a good off-season conditioning strength program helps get them, physically ready to play. And then once practice comes around, helping them see the benefit of the off-season hard work. So we try to give them opportunities for their physical strength to help them play the game better. But again, it goes back to the commitment of the players. They put in the time and effort, and they're seeing the benefits of that.
You've shouted out your staff, so now I want to give you the chance to shout out the McDonald community and also the administration and how supportive they've been to this program that is kind of still a baby in its growth.
Oh yes, I can't thank the administration enough. From Mr. O'Connell, Superintendent Gary Carquito, Principal Josh Crumpack. They've been so supportive and from the very get-go and getting this program started. And the community as a whole, I mean, this community is so great at supporting the high school and all of its activities and teams, not just sports, of all the activities, extracurriculars at McDonald High School. I'm very lucky to be a part of this community. I live here, but also just to see how much this community backs all of its sport programs. So I'm in a very, very fortunate situation to be surrounded by a very supportive administration, but also, just a great community as a whole.
What's a piece of advice that's been given to you that you hold close to you as a coach?
I guess that, my dad was a coach for a long time. He stressed, discipline, attention to detail, and that has always stuck with me. The little things matter. The little things are the difference between winning and losing. So, learning from him all these years, those things have always stuck with me as a coach. And also, surround yourself with good coaches as well. That also helps. I'm surrounded by great coaches. Again, Tim Harker Road, Kemi Hefner, Alex Fisher. So, the attention details, and all these coaches buy into that. All these coaches care, and not only about, the game of volleyball, but also the players as people, and developing young women. So, it's just overall good situation. All my coaches were on the same page, and we buy into the same things.
Coach, you opened the season against Columbiana. We had Coach Martin on a little bit earlier on the show. We asked her about this non-conference rivalry that has been building with McDonald and Columbiana. Seems like the last 2 years, every game that you guys have played against each other has been knockdown, drag out, thrilling. What's it like to build a non-conference rivalry with a team as good as Columbiana is, and what do you expect from this matchup this year?
Oh yes, I mean it's probably the same. I think last year both our matches went to 5 sets, but every year, we open up with them, and it's always a tremendous challenge. They're a well coached, very fundamentally sound team, and it's always a great way to start our year. And it really has come down to has created a big rivalry, just close matches, just great volleyball being played. So it's always exciting to see them on our schedule, especially twice. It gives us a good look again for the tournament, but it is really exciting playing this team. We know they're always going to be playing well, and again, well coached. So we're excited to see them in a few weeks.
We know every team is unique, so I guess early season, but what would you describe this team's identity as for the McDonald fans that are curious about the upcoming season?
Again, they're really close knit. They play really well together. Communication has been really good. That's big for us, is communication. But that shows that they're a very cohesive group. They work really well together. They communicate well, and I think our community is going to see that when they come to our matches this year. Very, very exciting, energetic group to watch.
All right, Coach, we want to thank you for the time to come on and help us preview McDonald volleyball. We definitely look forward to covering you guys all season. We can't wait to get out there, see what you guys bring to the table, and we wish you continued success, and we look forward to having you on again real soon.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, Coach Mike Klockner from McDonald joining us on ysnlive.com. Running Point brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Great conversation with a great coach going into his second year as the head coach at McDonald, but just the fourth year of that program.
Yeah, and I mean it's absolutely incredible how they've just continued to build. But like I said, they've been a successful team. I mean, I think the worst season was 8 wins in this program. So they've done a great job of not only getting wins but getting consistently better season in and season out. And I mean, credit goes to Coach Klockner, credit goes to the students, credit goes to everyone for not only starting this program, but continuing to feed into it, build it, and it's also getting quite a following too. We know those McDonald gyms get pretty full.
And all of a sudden, like you said, last year in that conference, three out of the 4 teams playing in the district semis were from the MVAC gray tier. I mean, Scarlet tier. So now all of a sudden, we're sitting here like, well, McDonald felt like they should have been a 4th team. They had an early exit, and like you said, they didn't feel like they put their best foot forward. Can McDonald make it 4 for 4? Who knows?
The thing about last season too, I mean, you just look at the stand. Mineral Ridge is usually really good.
They're a great program. Coach Lesko, top notch.
Newton Falls was the one that surprises you on the other side of it. But I mean, in the Scarlet, Western Reserve is Western Reserve. They're always or have always been a solid volleyball team for as long as I can remember. And like we said, Mineral Ridge, Jackson Milton is always in the conversation, it feels like. And heck, we know Lowville was even a solid team last year. Lowville's never a shabby team either. They're always grabbing over 10 wins in a season. So
they're going to have to replace a lot. Last year, Lowville was they had a lot of seniors. They were kind of in McDonald's position where they had 2 years ago, they had the, inconsistent young team. And now last year they had the veteran team. Now there are going to be a lot of new faces in that Lowville community. No more Sammy Kelly, no more Sammy Moore. Those players like that have gone to brighter pastures per se, graduating from Lowville. So now, who are the Rockets going to put in that floor?
I tell you what, too, this 5-win Springfield team from a year ago is dangerous now this year.
They've gotten healthy. They lost Madison Lesnack towards the end of the season last year to an injury. She's going to be healthy again. She's a straight-up athlete. They're going to have J.C. Mullen back. They have a lot of really good talent in Springfield. They were just young last year. So
there's a lot of seniors on this squad this year. So it's going to be a solid team, I think. Springfield seems like they're going to be the Lowville of last year with like a lot of senior talent that you never know. When you have that many seniors on a court, anything could happen.
Traditionally, Springfield has been a very good volleyball program. Back in like the early 2010s, so like 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, they were consistently in a district championship trying to get into regional. So I remember a lot of battles with Crestview back in not too long ago. We actually did a district championship at Salem between Springfield and Crestview in district semifinal. So not far removed from a couple of really good players in that program. I remember Gabby Fellows was a top-notch volleyball player to come out of Springfield. Mackenzie Groner, the last name Groner is
Groners are pretty solid athletes.
They've been stapled in that football program, but Mackenzie Groner was a very good volleyball player in her own right. The older sister of Austin Groner.
I think so. I think you're right.
Who mainstayed in that Springfield football program. The Groner family, and there have been a lot of really good volleyball players to come out of Springfield, and they're trying to get back to that tradition, trying to get back to that winning ways.
There's a lot of good teams too, and I mean, even Sebring wasn't a bad team last year either. 11-13, I think, was their overall record. They're a solid team as well.
A lot of people forgot about Blake Thomas down there.
Yeah.
How good of a player she is.
She's got some height to her, man. She is a tree. And you know what? I tell you what, I'm also excited. Waterloo, I know, winless last season, but from what Coach DeVries was telling us, also the athletic director over there at Waterloo, they got a lot of girls trying out this year. And I feel like, wow, that's kind of like a dark horse team right now is Waterloo. You don't know
Waterloo's volleyball program is always kind of dangerous in my mind because like Springfield, they have a winning tradition there. They've had good volleyball teams in the past, and there was a time when 2 years ago Jackson Milton beat them for the first time ever. So that's how good Waterloo had been in the past. So you look at Waterloo volleyball, you always got to think that tradition might come back.
Dark horse team, man. You only have one way to go is up, right?
That's dark horse too, because they have a lot of young talented players, especially Mia Greco.
That Scarlet side of the MVAC is going to be no doubt a absolute battle for that spot.
I mean, you look at Western Reserve, Lisa Eichert coming back. You got Olivia Hughes, you got Kappa Bianca. It's like, well, dang, they're going to be very good too.
Western Reserve never shies away on girls' sports. It seems like too, like volleyball, girls' basketball, softball, like just solid teams, man. I mean, girls' athletics at Western Reserve has just always been consistently solid.
and they have consistently good coaches. Maybe we'll have to get some of them on the phone soon. We'll be right back on Running Point. We haven't actually taken our first break yet. We have to pay
Catch
some
up on
bills.
breaks.
We're at an hour and a half into the show. We should probably go in and take some breaks. We'll take one with you on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens. On air, online, Wednesday afternoon weather update,
very dangerous,
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Now you can see every school, to the smallest school, to the intermediate schools, to the schools in the outlying areas. It gives you coverage that you could just never get to before. It's something that's great to experience, and it's opened up a whole new wave of sports viewership. The possibilities are endless here at YSN. Push the envelope every day. Try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let's try another angle, and we just keep moving forward. My name is Mike Ackelson, and my sports network is your sports network.
Reliability, innovation, scale. These three values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Jimmy Sudman here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and two of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
How lucky are we to have not one, but two 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring PGA professionals, golf instruction, a players rewards club, kids programs, and a pro shop and grill room for a memorable golf experience. Call or click to schedule your tee time at Mill Creek Golf Course.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we offer a worry-free experience for all our customers.
From sales to financing and even service,
We'll help build your perfect vehicle
and lock in your trade value
while your vehicle is being built.
No worries.
We guarantee financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history. No worries. And when your vehicle needs service,
our award-winning team will get you back on the road.
No worries.
That's what going the extra mile means. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Now is the time to think about your future, where you want to go, what you want to be. Your future can start now at Kent State Salem or Kent State East Liverpool. We have programs that will open doors and provide opportunities for you to pursue your passion. We are affordable. We are close. You call it hometown. We call it Kent State University. Learn more at www.kent.edu/Columbiana. You belong here.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. Ty, we have some results from fall sports. First ones. Waterloo Golf got the win last night in Riverview. Jackson Eichler shot a 43. Trevor Simon shot a 44, and then those were the low scores of the round. Other qualifying scores for Waterloo were put in by Drew Flarida and Bella Janor. So those four golfers were, high enough to have their score count for Waterloo's total. They got the win, and they are 1-0 on the season. They play today against Mogador in what they call the Battle for Paradise Lake, which I think is one of the coolest names you could ever give a matchup. It just sounds awesome. Battle for Paradise Lake.
Way to go, Waterloo, for getting the victory too, as Vikings looking to continue rolling it, though. I mean, golf scores, though, I'm sure that makes Brian Tolnar happy as well, that golf's starting to get into full swing and tee off. And that means that Mill Creek's going to be quite busy here in the coming weeks.
8 of our teams call Mill Creek home for golf. Hey, how about our buddy Mike McKenzie, man? He helped Beaver Local get a win over Crestview yesterday. He shot a 39.
Look at that. 39. Look at him. Oh, Mikey McKenzie out there helping out, getting big wins too for Beaver Local.
Yeah, Beaver Local opened the season with a win over Crestview yesterday. He had a 39, and the Beavers are off and running. They get the first win of the season.
Of course, Beaver Local fans know him as the voice of the Beavers football team.
McNuggies is what we know him by.
Yeah, we're going to be excited to have McNuggies behind Beaver Local squad.
He's one of the most fun calls to listen to during football season, because he is one of the announcers that literally sits on the edge of his seat for every play, because he is so emotionally invested in whether or not the success of Beaver Local.
I mean, so many ties too, and then senior McKenzie too, coaches over there.
Well, he's the coach. His dad's the coach, so that's one of the reasons why, of course, he's
the man of many hats. He's like coach, principal, athletic director.
Not athletic director anymore, but
oh yeah, that's right. He's coaching. He's coaching principal now.
Coach principal. Josh Sigler, athletic director. But I'm sure there are some things that Coach McKenzie can take off of his plate during the winter and the spring. I'm sure.
I mean, thankfully,
he's happy to put on that hat too. He's like, I wear a lot of hats on this team.
Yeah, I'm sure Josh Sigler. I mean, he's so happy Josh Sigler is there to take that hat off of him too. The the man of many hats. It should be a fun season though for Beaver Local this season, no doubt.
I think it's so fun for the audible call that checking on Mike McKenzie because Ackelson will be like, man, check his heart rate. Is McNuggies okay?
The Beavers are going to be a solid team. They look to be this year. I mean, Beaver Local always has solid squads year in and year out.
So we congratulate him on a great start to the golf season. He's one of our good friends, shooting a 39, and Beaver Local once again getting the win. Ty, the Scrappers are home again tonight. They will play State College tonight. They are, they're struggling right now after going 3-3 in their first 6 after the second half. They have dropped a handful in a row, and they're trying to get back on track tonight. They lost last night to State College 9-2. So trying to get back on track tonight, as the Scrappers only have after this weekend, they only have 9 home games left in their schedule. So a total of 12. But after this weekend, they're off on the road for a week. They come back home for 3, another road stand, then back home for 3, and then a road stand back home for 3. So this is the tail end of their last big home stand.
It's definitely going to be a sad end of the season too, because I mean summer's coming to an end when the Scrappers are done. But yeah, and I mean point blank, you kind of put it. Scrappers just struggling. It's been ever since that beginning of the season. They started off really hot. They just really haven't been able to pick up much steam since that point, and they've just been on the struggle bus since. And of course, they had a decent amount of their talent drafted away too, and that kind of doesn't help things. Sometimes you're trying to rebuild it, but yeah, struggling. But hey, it's still good exposure for these guys, and there's still some stars that are being made even in losses.
It's hard. The first week of that draft league is hard. You kind of throw it out the window because the first 10 games are kind of they're just kind of fill-in players until the players that are playing in college can actually be eligible to play in the draft league. So they have to wait till they're done with their season. And a lot of these teams like West Virginia, who we know got off to a really tough start in this first 10 days, brought in a lot of guys that were playing in deep into the college tournament. They got a guy from Oklahoma. They got a couple of guys from some other D1 schools. So after that 10 days, they were like, okay, now this is our real roster. And that's why I think we saw West Virginia have like a 1-7 record go from that to winning the first half of the season.
And I mean, that's always exciting times too, when you can see which teams are going to be able to make those adjustments. And hey, when it's a fresh year, everybody's 0-0, right? You start off the season 0-0, so everyone with a fresh record, and it just means that a season is what you can make of it. It's all fresh out in front of you, and that's always the most exciting time, I think, of the season.
West Virginia has stayed hot in the second half. They lead the second half standings with a 9-4 record. They've played 2 more games than the team below them, which is Williamsport, who is sitting at 7-4. So just a game back, even though 9-4 and 7-4. State College, who the Scrappers will play tonight, 8-5. Frederick is 6-7. Trenton is 4-7. Scrappers come in 3-10 after the break, but it's a 7-game losing streak they're trying to snap.
They've been on a few of them this season too, where they've had some long skids, but hey, like we said, still good exposure for these guys. And I mean, honestly, as a whole too, stars can still be made even in defeats.
It does not take away from the atmosphere of the Eastwood Field, and you could argue that it is the best atmosphere in the draft league. They definitely led in attendance last year as well. And it is Aaron Savali bobblehead giveaway for the first 1,000 fans tonight. Plus, it's Fireworks Friday. Plus, there's a sports memorabilia auction. Plus, it's Scout Night. So a lot of promotions tonight. If you're heading to Eastwood Field, you can get a very cool-looking Aaron Savali bobblehead in the Scrapper maroon uniform. They have him in this bobblehead. Maroon hat, maroon jersey. So you can pick up that if you're one of the first 1,000 fans. Once again, it's also Fireworks Night and also sports memorabilia auction and also Scout Night. And another thing that is live right now, the online auction for the jersey that they're going to wear tomorrow night, which they are calling the 910th Operation Fly Together team jersey. I'm looking at it, Ty. It looks sharp. It's clean. And, it's not like flashy like you see some minor league jerseys. They have the color blends and they're kind of flashy with the logos. This jersey that we're going to wear tomorrow It's clean, it's simple, but I kind of like it. It's black on gray. It's got a cool arm patch. It's got a cool hat to go with it. So the live auction for that jersey is going on now. You can also bid in person at the game tomorrow, and obviously get your tickets to tomorrow's game. When we look at the Storm Tracker 21 app, you got to be careful tonight. There are some threats of thunderstorms early on in the evening. They should be out by first pitch at 7. But we know there have been some golf teams that have actually canceled their golf meets tonight. Hubbard specifically has been the one that canceled tonight because of the threat of weather. So you got to be a little bit leery, but Storm Tracker 21 says by 7 o'clock, the storm should be out of there, and it should be a cloudy night with a 78 degrees as your temperature. That's a pretty comfortable temperature.
It might be what we saw last night. I mean, Hall of Fame game got pushed back a little bit due to rain, but I mean, after that, did you see the sky? The sky was gorgeous after that too. So you might see similar effect after tonight.
Yeah, that was a crazy kind of like how many times remember the Hall of Fame game? The one time
it looked like the Lion King. It looked like the intro to Lion King. That sky, like it literally looked like the Lion King.
Where's Rafiki?
Someone should have done that with the football. That should have been the football celebration. And then everyone just settles around them.
Bring over the NFL camera. Guys, perfect photo op.
It literally looked like the Lion King last night.
Someone started the circle of life. Okay. But remember like a couple years ago, the Hall of Fame game got canceled because the field conditions were so bad?
I do remember that.
The night before. It's like the bad luck for the Hall of Fame game. The last 4 years almost got canceled last night because of weather.
Yeah, luckily it got off, and I mean it was a nice sky too, beautiful sky drop for it.
From now until February, every weekend we'll have football.
It's exciting times, right? I mean, we have one more Friday of no football before all madness breaks loose.
Yep. But I think there's preseason games this weekend, so.
Mm-hmm.
From this weekend until February, there is not going to be a weekend without some type.
You're gonna have some type of football for sure. At least starting, like you said last night, until every weekend. High school football is just on the horizon. It's gonna get real, I should say, and everything's gonna hit the fan. I think next Friday when we kind of have to start doing the YSN get-togethers and everything, you're gonna see all the announcers in one place again. It's gonna be crazy.
That's actually if you're interested in joining our team, that's next Friday is Winter Boot Camp, or we're calling it the Academy this year. Next Friday and Saturday, so still got time to reach out to us and try to maybe get an interview before then, or just pop into that Academy and kind of get a feel of what we do and how we do things. So if you want to be a part of our team, make sure to reach out to us on any of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and then also. You can email info@ysnlive.com.
Yeah, we're always looking to add new people too, and there's always unlimited numbers of spots, it seems like, for what you can do with YSN too. If you're a story writer, if you're able to do graphics, if you're a good editor, I mean, it seems like we have so many spots available for that.
We would never say no to bodies, basically.
Yeah,
pretty much. Body, and you can help us with something, we will gladly take you. Ty, this excites me. We talked to Crestview volleyball coach Lee Shower, but their girls basketball team is promoting an alumni game on October 1st, which I'm sitting here like all the alumni that have come through that program in the last 10 years.
That's an all-star game.
Like Chelsea Boker might be one of the best basketball players our area has ever seen. Look at she's over 2,000 points in her career at Crestview. Went on to play in the Sweet 16 at St. Bonaventure. I think she broke one of the 3-point records at St. Bonaventure, which is a Division I school. I mean, a little bit older, but she could probably still show these young kids how to play.
Sniper. I'm sure she could still snipe from that 3-point line.
She could come into that alumni game. You got Krista Perry from a couple of years ago. You got Haley Eskra. You got Alexi Gates, who is Coach Gates' daughter, can come on. Very good basketball player. Ashley Harrison graduated in, I think, 2015, was a tremendous basketball player. A lot of talent coming through that Crestview program. An alumni game could be very exciting. October 1st is when it is. It is $20 to play if you're an alumni, It is $4 to get in if you want to come and watch, $2 for students. Concessions will be available. Games could be consolidated if we don't have enough participation. So they definitely want to make sure that they get people interested. If you are an alumni and you happen to be watching or listening to this broadcast, you can call or text Coach Blatch at 330-853-1943, and you can pay it through Venmo. And that link is posted on the Venmo link is posted on the flyer that is promoting it. So that should be a fun night. And if you're a Crestview girls basketball alum, make sure to get out there. There's going to be the women's alumni game at 5, the 30 and over men's alumni game at 6:15, and then the under 30 men's alumni game at 7:30. So it is not just a girls alumni game, but a whole Crestview basketball alumni game.
A lot of great players that have come through there as well. So you might see the Golden Boy, Drake Golden, might make an appearance again.
Maybe. You never know. You never know.
It'll be a
That's
fun
what's great
time.
about alumni games. You never know who's going to pop in.
No, you don't. It should be a fun night either or.
That's going to be fun to look forward to. We want to take the time to thank our guests that came on today. Michael Klockner fought through some technical glitches, but came on, so we thank him for his patience. Jennifer Martin, the head coach of Columbiana Volleyball, came on. Going to be a great year for Columbiana in that tight EOAC. They want to contend with Wellsville, the Worlds that had a stranglehold of that conference for a while. They're going to be just as tough, but they do have some pieces to replace, especially Emily McNichol at center. So Wellsville, maybe the door is a little bit open for Columbiana. Who knows? And then, of course, Crestview, Coach Auer from Crestview coming on with us from Columbiana County right before picture day. So pictures were at 1:30. He was able to come on and get wrapped up with us and then head on to get some media exposure to the Crestview volleyball team and take new pictures. They're one of the best programs around. They've proven it time in and time out. They have a solid foundation. They could be a very exciting team this year. So we want to thank all of our guests for coming on today. We look towards Monday and the guests we will have on the show, Ty. We have confirmed that we will have show guests right off the top with Alyssa Birch from Boardman Volleyball and Angela Jones from Springfield Volleyball at 12 and 12:15. And Timothy Cooper will be coming on a little bit later on in the show as well.
We're excited too. I mean, Timothy Cooper is a mastermind from what we've heard in that West Branch program, and like you were talking at the top of the show too, Drew DeShields is all the talk. It seems like in that conference. So very excited to talk about to talk to Coach Cooper and what he's got in store for these Warriors this season.
Coach Cooper's the new coach caveat because it's a new coach, but he's been with the program so long. It's not like he's going to come in and try to reinvent the wheel. Kind of like Coach Fender with the Poland boys last year. He was with the staff. He was there. He knows exactly what the program's about. Not going to try to come in and reinvent the wheel. So shouldn't be much. And
from what I'm understanding too, I think it was like the previous coach at West Branch basically said like, put this guy in this position. Right. Like he needs to be in this position.
I think that was the conversation. Like I'm going to step down, but I want him to be the head coach.
Yeah,
and I think Coach Harris is still in the program.
I'm pretty sure he is. I still think he is.
It's going to swap places. Like, okay, you take the head coach responsibilities, and I'll be an assistant.
And from what I understand, when we were talking and had our discussions, like I said, it was because Coach Cooper is some sort of mastermind at this sport of football. So I'm excited to talk to the mastermind himself.
You call him a savant.
Yeah,
savant. Couldn't pass up the opportunity to lead that West Branch team. We're so excited. They're going to open the season against Canfield. We'll talk to him about that and so many more things on Monday, along with Coach Jones from Springfield Volleyball and Coach Birch from Boardman Volleyball, who are two teams that we expect a lot from as well. All that coming up on Monday from 12 to 2 on Running Point. Don't miss that. Hey, we're going to take a 70-hour break. We'll be back on Monday. But coming up, Casual Sports Podcast from 2 to 3. On the Power Hour today, Shane Lindstrom from South Rain Football will be joining DJ. So don't miss that interview on the Power Hour from 3 to 4. That should be a fun interview. We had him on last year when he won Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley after that big punt return in last year's season. So we'll bring him back. DJ will bring him back, I should say, today on Power Hour, so make sure you tune into that from 3 to 4. And then tonight there is Scrappers game going on 7:05. Richie Giuliano will have the call from Eastwood Field, and that should be a fun time as well. So until Monday, we are saying goodbye. Thank you so much for tuning in. And once again, Catch All Sports